Previously on Deathwatch the Puritanicals.
You speak of honor!
As he's gonna leap.
First thing you see as your lenses clear back to being just red glass is a stain of purple blood along the blade of your axe. Points his cyclic ion cannon straight at Dima's back. Put two fingers to his head and jauntily salute at you.
Garthiel does a scream so rageful and so angry that one would think it was from a Cornite Marine.
The dust has cleared. The battle is over. Standing in the cathedral is the majority of the kill team, with Garthiel screaming outside in the now deserted plaza. The Crusaders are still forming a tight-knit shield wall around Elias, who is still kind of on his knees behind them. Sala, you are standing the nearest to the Crusaders. Gracchus in the Corvus Blackstar are in a pretty shabby state. They've taken a lot of fire, but they've clearly been holding their own against multiple fighters and drones. The Corvus Blackstar has seen better days, but is still functional.
It's because Gracchus is my boy. He's the man. He's the man.
Garthiel's storming back in, full of anger and huffing and puffing.
Barbas disengages his laser. He's gonna turn on the spot and make his way over to Elias.
Are the Crusaders, are their swords still drawn? As in, not drawn, sorry, but are they in that sort of defensive formation, sorry?
Yeah, the Crusaders still sword, just drawn, shields up. They're still in that defensive ring with Elias basically under them.
Star's just going to turn around. Star's just going to turn around and face them. Star's not going to put his sword away, but he's not about to do anything funny.
Garthiel will, though. Across the room, he just shouts top of his lungs, "Elias, you are coming with us!" They're just marching towards, slowly, I guess, because my jump pack's out of juice.
Your jump pack is kind of bent out of shape. You've really pushed it to its absolute limits.
August will approach Dima, stride over, kind of ignoring the somewhat battered Constantinos, and making his way over. Watching Garthiel out the corner of his eye, he's going to start tending to Dima. And as he's kind of doing it very matter-of-factly, not really much of a bedside manner, is just going to mutter to him with no vox involved.
Squad lead, you might want to get involved here.
Yes, I was thinking the same. Dima once tended to waddle towards the commotion.
I assume I don't have to walk far to make it to Elias, considering I shuffled to the right and into some pews from where I was previously talking to him.
No, absolutely. By the way, do you want to heal Constantinos as well?
I will move.
No, I will heal myself. Constantinos, after healing himself and welding sheets of metal to him, I don't know, walks over towards the Enforcer. Is it Enforcer's Crisis, or is it just Enforcer battlesuit?
They're just crisis suits.
What was the commander's?
Oh, an Enforcer crisis suit.
Yeah, I'm going to walk over towards it and start hacking it to pieces.
It's fully detonated, so it's there's nothing left.
There's not even an arm piece or any technology that I can scrounge up.
The best piece you would be able to find is the bit that Dima knocked off with his psychic blast, which is the complete burnt, smoldering, twisted remains of the ion blaster.
I'm going to assume that there's nothing I can salvage from that then.
No, there is absolutely nothing you can salvage from the crisis suits.
Then I'm gonna make sure nobody else can, as well as I'm just gonna start destroying whatever technology is here from the Tau.
Oh, at this point, you guys are all just basically assembled in front of the 3 Crusaders. They've kind of spread out a little bit. They're not quite as huddled on Elias. Elias is kind of on his knees, praying, it seems, again. The Crusaders are very much like shields and weapons ready. They are looking at you, staring you down the best they can.
Gartha will look at Barbas. Barbas, do something about this mortal before I do it myself.
As you wish, Brother Garthiel.
He's gonna remove his helmet and get as close as the Crusaders will allow without ripping his guts out with their power swords.
The leader of the Crusaders steps forward. It's the one who talked to you earlier, before the Tau commander's arrival. You seem a pious warrior, Astartes. There is that little pause between... Like, he almost seemed like he was going to say a man, and then he remembered that you're not.
You would do well to remember it.
There is a point at which a knight must decide whether his master is of worthy virtue. And it is not for the knight to decide, but for the Emperor. And what you have shown me, your steel, your contempt, your faith, I do believe is a sign. Take this traitor away, and he points his sword at Elias.
And sort of on cue with that, Salah's just going to walk past him and pull out his restraints.
As the Emperor wills it, Crusader.
In his name, glory be done! All 3 of them chant.
If you would like to prove your mettle further, knight, you may join us in capturing the corrupt governor of this town.
The other 2 look at their leader, and you see the slight nods, and the Crusader turns back and just goes, "It would be my honor to fight alongside the Emperor's angels," and they ignite their power swords.
It would be good to have you. Now, Salah, please restrain this traitor.
Honestly, I imagine Salah's already got him hogtied.
Salah, you finish just putting the restraints on around him. He's all locked up, and Gracchus has already landed out in the plaza.
If it wasn't for the fact that Salah's in power armor, you'd think that it was a man holding a man in a gimp suit.
What? Like holding it like a fucking suitcase.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, that is exactly what's happening right now.
So you've got like the back bar, and it's just like around his neck, both his arms.
There's a ball gag and everything.
Well, it's not a ball gag, remember, it's like the Mad Max muzzle.
Yeah, but if you close your eyes, it could be a ball gag. He makes the same noises.
If you close your eyes. Alright. You're ready to rock and roll. You've got 3 Crusaders in tow as well. Do you want to just go store Elias on the Black Star?
Is there any Tau propaganda around here for Garthiel to take his stress out on?
Any Tau propaganda that was in this cathedral is now most certainly been destroyed in all the carnage.
Garthiel's just angrily pacing back and forth, his hands clutched very tensely to his chainswords.
Does it outwardly appear that Garthiel's jump pack is a bit weary?
Yeah.
As Salah's holding his gimp case, as he's sort of walking down the cathedral, he's going to sort of take a quick turn to look at Konstantinos, and he's just going to say, "You should consider seeing to Garthiel's jump pack, brother."
Of course, brother.
And he's just going to continue walking down the pill-shaped hallway with his gimp case.
I will vox to Gracchus then. Gracchus, bring the ship down. We have a traitor to board with you.
I'm already landed, squad lead.
Excellent.
See, I'm thinking I could either chuck him in like chucking out the trash, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to neatly hang my gimp suitcase up on the ceiling rail, so he's hanging down, freeballing it.
Oh no, you're curing him like a pig.
Yeah, well, he looks like a smoked piece of meat.
Dude, you need to rotate it like he's a piece of shawarma.
Please tell me you're not hanging him upside down at least. Like there isn't blood rushing to his head, right?
So his belly is like facing downwards, but his legs are hogtied up behind him, with his head yanked back and his arms upwards. So if he wasn't wearing any clothes, his dick and balls would be free balling it.
Dick balls.
Oh, no.
Dick balls.
Oh, no.
Dick balls. 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 Di
to clarify, so you have completed the primary objective. Elias is now stored on the Corvus Blackstar. Gracchus is in fact outside the Corvus Blackstar, tending to its injuries. He is going over it with sacred oils and his server harness array, just kind of like patching it back together, repairing the rents in its armor and soothing its wounded machine spirit. The Crusaders are just kind of following you guys, ready to rock and roll.
Brother Garthiel.
Garthiel will just snap his head round. What?
Come hither, please. I wish to take a look at your jetpack, if you do not mind.
Just see Garthiel stare at you for a couple of seconds before, like, striding towards you.
As I'm going to heed the advice given to me and take a look-see.
Garthiel's jump pack was quite badly damaged. Pretty much if Garthiel had tried to use this again, he probably would have died.
How did it get so badly damaged?
You pushed it to its absolute limits, and then you, like, emergency reignited it when you nearly fell from the sky and died.
What is wrong with it, Konstantinos?
Well, brother, it seems you have pushed it to its extreme. It's a miracle that it didn't blow up on you in your last burst of speed.
It is strong like I am. It is still functional, yes.
I, personally, would not use it again.
Then fix it.
Konstantinos, he's like moving his fingers, like, along with it, like tools.
That tickles.
His fingers bending in horrifying ways, considering they are both cybernetic, as he's digging in there, using the ferric lure to pull out shrapnel. The servo arm coming in to pinch some wires together. There you go, brother. It should be in working order now.
Excellent. Thank you, cousin.
How does the machine spirit feel?
The machine spirit is thankful that a Grim Warden is not touching it for the first time ever. It's just like, oh god, please get me off this guy. No. The machine spirit has this kind of same impudent rage as its bearer. Like, this jump pack also is really annoyed it didn't catch its target.
Konstantinos is just going to nod, just mumble some prayers as he's fixing it, and then just lightly tap it on the back. You're good to go, Garthiel.
Good. Now, there are more Tau to murder and more heretics to kill.
Couldn't have said it myself better.
Then he's going to stomp off outside.
Yes, Garfield speaks truth for once. Let us head towards our last target.
What do you mean for once?
Kill Team Ignis and the 3 Crusaders board the Corvus Blackstar. After Gracchus finishes his repairs, he climbs back aboard himself and pilots you over to your final objective, the Planetary Governor's Palace. Gracchus is able to drop you off pretty much directly next to that side entrance. Due to the Corvus's Blackstar's special stealth equipment that make it undetectable to the base's automated defenses.
Does it have like... Does a Corvus have like a sound dampener? Or does that mean the human guards just hear like roaring jet engines and just look up like, huh? What's going on?
Corvus Blackstars are basically undetectable.
They're pretty silent, right?
Yeah. They're as silent as a silenced pistol. The guards probably hear it, but they're not going to have time. Like, by the time they hear it, it's going to have already dropped you guys off, quite frankly.
So, I know you mentioned before that there's, like, Tau buildings behind this one, where, like, possible Tau people might still exist.
Yes.
Do people think it would be a good idea to send the Blackstar to scout it out?
Not without us. Because then it could just go away while we're not looking.
Just explode.
Yeah, it could just, like, die.
It'd be wise to have Gracchus keep an eye out for other flyers. Because if that Tau commander guy's run off and is coming back in a battlesuit, it'd be great if Gracchus could, shoot him down before he gets here.
If we're having this conversation in character, August will probably mutter something about,
he won't be coming back anytime soon. His injuries were too severe for that.
and he's kind of runs a pair of fingers up the side of his unignited blade.
Yes, that's for certain. You did a fine job shooting out of his suit, might I add.
I thank you, brother. It is not to overestimate my abilities, but it is the finest example of my marksmanship to date. It shall be inscribed upon my shield.
And I would do the same, if truth be said.
That being said, it would be unwise to not prepare for every circumstance. These aliens, once they are dug in, they are like cockroaches to get out.
Did that commander truly pose such a threat to you before? He seemed no more pressing than our average encounter.
Afraid, Brother August. Last time he tried to drop a building on us.
And failed.
And failed.
And he talks of honor.
It is Xenos scum. Next time, my jump pack will be faster.
Your jump pack literally flares into life as you say that. Like, just for a moment, you guys all hear it roar.
Scum. Let us deal with this traitorous scum.
It is all on you, Brother Konstantinos.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna turn to the Crusader squad lead.
They are having a much harder time of, like, staying stable in the ship that you guys do. As this is an Astartes vessel, it kind of assumes you have the superhuman reflexes needed to, like, hold your position. So they, like, can't, like, they've had to sheathe their swords and shields, and they're, like, hanging on to some of the harnesses. Their power armor is helping them, but they are not suited for this transport.
Seeing this, if one of them is within arm's reach of Salah, he's just going to sort of reach out a hand to help stabilize the man.
They will very politely but firmly dismiss your hand with the greatest respect.
Damn, someone's not getting a present for Christmas.
Yeah, so August definitely sees this, and he'll send a private vox signal to Salah.
Be mindful of them, brother. Mortals tend to have a strange sense of pride about them. They think themselves on par with us sometimes. It is confusing.
It sounds like you want me to treat them like Brother Garthiel.
That is not an unapt comparison.
Ouch. Ooh, scathing.
With that, the Corvus Black Star hits the ground, and the doors slide open, and you all quickly pour out, expecting immediate las fire. However, there is no response, no call to alarm yet.
Come, cousins. Into the fray.
Hang on for a moment, Garthiel.
And Barbas is gonna motion to Konstantinos.
Brother Konstantinos, would you please survey the area? This has all the tellings of a trap.
Of course, brother. As Konstantinos is he's gonna look around.
Konstantinos, consulting your augurs, your scans, your eyes able to peer through the rockcrete walls guarding the side gardens, you see that they are already in defensive positions. They are already ready. You can see multiple heat signatures dotted in the bushes behind cover. Scanning through the kind of walls, you can see outlines of they've hidden their defenses. They really have attempted to lay a ambush, and if you weren't Astartes, it might have worked.
Brothers, be on the lookout. It seems that they are trying to ambush us. Their heat signatures are all pinged on your HUDs.
All you guys can really see is a very large, ornate gate, a long stretch of tall rockcrete wall, and the tips of trees poking out over the top of it.
August will stoop down next to the Crusaders and murmur the general directions of enemy concentrations to them, sort of gesturing and guiding their vision to certain points. Because it just occurs to him that they will not have the same information web that the Astartes do.
The Crusader leader's like, "By the throne, that much from a glance?"
Our tech marine is exceptional.
So just to kind of give you a bit more of a general description of the garden, actually. Off in the distance, about 100 meters away, you can see the Planetary Governor's Palace proper. It's big, it's large, it's towering, it's defensible, it's covered in automated turrets. The place where you are, you basically have to fight your way through, from what you saw on the plans, 3 tiers of gardens, get to that door, kick the door in, then there's an MUI port, like, directly inside.
I don't think we'll be able to win these ones over.
Well, brothers, if it's any consolation, I still have 3 frag grenades.
And I have 2 thirsting chainswords. Squad lead, permission to engage.
What state is your jump pack in?
Functional.
Yes, Garfield, you have my full permission to engage as you please.
Brother Dima, if I may interject. If Garthiel would withhold...
Garthiel launched him up into the air.
No, please, no, please! Barbus will grumble something over the box as he turns to the Crusaders.
What were you going to say, Barbus?
It matters not now, Brother Dima. I will engage the enemy from a distance.
As Barbus turns to the Crusaders, and he asks them a simple question.
Do you know how to make an effective shield wall?
They immediately lock in together, forming a perfect shield wall.
Very well. You are the shield. I am the sword.
As a motion to go stand in the gate.
They ignite their power swords in unison, slam the butt of their power swords onto the back of their shields 3 times, and charge forward in tight shield formation, essentially filling the gate and knocking down the ornate railings.
I follow closely behind, plasma gun at the ready.
August will stay close to Dima.
As Garfield, you crest the wall, and this hail of hotshot las fire just greets you, and shots fly past you as you are roaring forward on a pillar of flame. And one single las gun shot finds its way onto you. Would you like to dodge?
I'll give it a go.
Would you like a twist of fate?
No,
Thank you.
So yeah, Garfield, you just shrug off this lone dink in your left leg of hotshot las, and you get to slam on down into the nearest poor bastard, if you would like.
So yeah, I'll just slam into the closest one.
So you descend down from on high, jump jet roaring, slam into one guy who was hiding in a bush, turn him into bloody pulp, and you are now standing next to a couple of his mates.
So I'll just shout, "For the Emperor!"
The warriors you are facing are essentially dressed in long black frock coats, gilded with gold and reinforced with carapace plates. A large circular ornate power pack is strapped to their back, a cable attaching it to their hellguns. Barbus, you were the next up. You turned the corner with your plasma gun over the head of your Crusader shield wall, who's just formed up.
Barbus is going to change his mind and heavy bolt them because it shoot more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was expecting more opposition, but upon watching Garfield sort up, come down, and hear a wet crunch and see a comical splatter of guts and gore and an arm go spiraling past, he's changed his mind.
Is it literally, oh, these aren't worth my plasma gun, stows. Heavy bolters up.
Yeah, as he takes position behind, his autosense goggles whirring as the lens is flicking in and out as he's thinking of what he's going to do, he simply says over the out loud to the Crusaders, "You are the shield, I am the sword," and opens up.
So within seconds, as you guys basically turn the corner, Barbus has put 7 of them on the floor bleeding to death, and Garfield has turned one into a crimson crater.
So there's 2 left.
You can just whip out the bolter and splat 2 of them, though, if you just hit 2 shots.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's play that game.
Would you like a twist of fate?
No.
Sala step around the corner, open up with a couple of shots. They slam into the trees and cover that these defenders have already prepared. Dima?
Can I move 10 smite?
Yeah, you can do. The last 2 defenders on this tier die screaming as they immolate in green fire. After that, you just hear a scream from the next tier and panicked yelling as the warriors of the next tier, the defenders who were prepared there, begin running backwards.
So Barbus, noticing this, will shout to the Crusaders, "Crusaders, seek and destroy!" and release my beautiful sons at the enemy.
"Yes, my lord!" And they rush forward, shields up, points of their swords directly, pointing where they're going, as they sprint in power armor after these, retreating defenders. When they reach one, it's just a slam with the shield in the back, and then the sword goes through the back of the fleeing planetary governor guard's neck.
Not if Garfield gets there first.
It's a race. Garfield is jumping from target to target, slaughtering. Constantinus, what would you like to do?
How thick are the walls, out of curiosity?
They are probably about half a meter.
AP-wise, how thick are they?
6.
I'm going to half that with my solo mode ability, as I'm going to shoot through it at them.
Constantinos, you raise your bolter using your advanced augurs and skill as a siege crafter to find the weak points in this rockcrete wall, to fire through them and use them as murder holes. However, as you bring your bolter to bear and pull the trigger, you just hear a click. The defenders in here are in full retreat. Yeah, you slaughtered a third of them in 3 seconds. Their will broke and they ran. They're literally scrambling through the gardens to get in through the door, to get to the safety of the palace.
Are they visible?
They're not visible. You guys can just be gunning them down as you advance.
Can I just fly in front of the door? Not go in, but just pincer maneuver them.
Most of the ones at the top layer are getting away before you'll do that, but you can cut off the few that were in the second layer that you haven't already slaughtered or aren't being hunted down by the Crusaders.
I'll do that. As I land in front of them, I'll grab one by the head and just crush their skull in my hand, while swing my chainsword at the other, just ripping them in half. Before using my jump pack to shoulder bash a third into a bush or something.
What's the rest of the kill team doing as Garfield lets out some cathartic rage?
I will full out sprint towards the door then.
I'll put it the same.
So while Garfield is holding the door and butchering whatever foolish palace guards think they can slip past him or make their way past him, the Crusaders mop up the last few in the actual gardens themselves, and you guys just make it to the door, having met what to any other force would have been serious resistance.
Constantinos, access the panel. Get us in.
Of course, squad lead.
On the other side of Garfield is this huge golden door. It is baroque, but at the same time, it is immensely thick and reinforced. Constantinos is so thick, in fact, that your scans can't penetrate it.
Garthiel, do you mind giving me a hand? As I'm gonna walk up to it with this servo arm, and I'm gonna try with my hands and the servo arm to try to rip it open.
Garfield just grabs one end, using his rage and anger. You can see the vial of water around his neck boiling away as he pulls at the door as hard as he can.
So the both of you are hauling on this door, and it's beginning to buckle and give way, but it still holds firm.
Give a hand!
Of course.
All three of you are just straining against this door, unable to get it open. The Crusaders are just watching oh, I see.
Okay. I'm gonna level a plasma shot.
As Sulla sees Barbas charging up his plasma gun, Sulla's going to pull out his plasma pistol and do the same so they can shoot it in unison.
Do you want to shout at your brothers to clear the way then if you're both overcharging? Because that could possibly hit them.
Brothers, be aware, hazardous environments.
I assume everyone on the door clears the way.
Yes.
I'm ready to take a full door to the face. Yeah, I move out of the way.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So both of you level your plasma weapons at the exact same spot, charging them to their maximum strength and unloading basically everything you can into the door. And the door glows blinding white with the amount of heat you've just forced onto it. You can see the golden edifice of the door melting away to reveal the adamantium layer underneath as your plasma has scorched but undamaged the door.
This is pathetic. Let me at it.
August strides forward, activates the power axe, and is going to try and put down the middle to try and hit the lock, whatever the bolt mechanism is. Just striking it down the middle.
August, you bring your power axe down, and it bites into the adamantium, sliding down very slowly. And you have to stand there for what feels like days as you very slowly cut your axe through what is probably about 2 foot of a reinforced ceramite adamantine layered bolt.
I loosened it for you, brother.
You certainly did. Now, let's get to the killing.
The door now opens as you push against it, and you are in a small corridor. It is a small little porch almost. Grand and elegant as every aspect of a planetary palace is. And obviously, right next to you, on your left, is that small little data port.
Konstantinos he's gonna kneel down, taking off his helmet, as from the back of his neck, he's going to pull out a wire as he plugs it into the data port.
Whilst that's happening, just in case, I'm just going to... Sala's just going to gesture towards the Crusaders, and just sort of do a few... Just whilst Konstantinos is doing his thing, Sala's going to gesture towards the Crusaders to move in front, and he's just going to say, morsels, shield wall, here. And literally just point to the ground, like right in front of them, with the halfway down the corridor.
Their leader looks at Barbas.
He will nod in confirmation and walk along with them to take post.
The Crusaders immediately sprint into position, locking in a tight and efficient shield wall, perfectly blocking the corridor.
If you don't mind, I'm going to establish an overwatch at the end of that corridor.
Sal's going to take up a defensive stance just behind the shield wall, like as if he were part of it.
Careful, brother, that you might not miss this time.
Sal's just going to fully ignore Barbas's idiotic comms.
I was just thinking, did Garthiel see Dima use psychic powers at all?
Yeah.
That was the thing he forgot.
Okay, what's your reaction to that?
As he'll go up to Dima and be like, cousin, what kind of sorcery was that? Since when could you do such disgusting things?
Brother Garfield, has all of that screaming caused the blood to rush to your brain or something?
What did you just say to me? He'll just step up close.
I have been the librarian of this squad since this squad was formed, and you tell me you do not know of the powers I possess.
You must have hit your head somewhere, Dima. Since when were you a librarian?
This is the first time Dima is going to take off his helmet, and he is going to one by one count the 4 studs on his head. 200 years, Garfield. Been a librarian for 200 years.
You should have told me sooner. Yeah, no, Garfield's just walking off.
So Dima's going to put his helmet back on.
After interfacing with the machine spirit, Konstantinos, you have brought them under your control. And on the other side of the doors, you can begin to hear the massed fire of automated weaponry and the screams of dying Planetary Palace guards.
Please, leave the governor alive. It is the only thing I ask of you.
Do you guys just want to wait for these turrets to finish, or do you want to stride through the palace as its defenders are gunned down by their own defenses?
Garthiel's already going.
The door is locked, I'm afraid.
It's just Garthiel's going to pound and be like, Cousin Konstantinos, open this so I may join in the slaughter.
Can I open it with the data port?
It's on a separate connection, but yes. So you need to make another tech use check for this. The door, as Garthiel, who has hopped the shield wall, is pounding on this door and turns back to open this door. It just springs open. And Garthiel, you are essentially met with a bloodbath in front of you. There are dead guardsmen as a pair of quad-barreled las cannon turrets are just opening fire on this line of defenders in defensive equipment. They had heavy bolters. They had man-portable las cannon turrets. They have, however, been gunned down by their own tarantulas and their own las cannon turrets. The weapons flick to look at you for a second. Their aiming reticules flash green, and then they turn back around.
Excellent job, Konstantinos.
Thank you.
Come, cousins. Join me. As Garth is going to look to any single guardsman trying to hide from these turrets in little crevices and stuff and just charge at them.
There's a couple cowering, but there's like one or two cowering behind pillars or areas the turrets can't see. They very clearly were taken by surprise by this. Not a lot you can do. It's probably been, maybe like a minute or so since Konstantinos hacked them, so they already had like full magazines dumped into them. You just charge this poor cowering guard, and you just impale him into the pillar with your chainsword.
Just as I charge into him, I just shout, "Repent, heretic!" As I just punch him in his chest. Rib cage cracks open as he gets thrown up against a wall. Back splitting open.
So while Garthiel is doing that, what is the rest of the team doing?
Advancing with my beloved shield wall, of course.
August will be warding Dima. He's concerned that Dima might get taken out by a stray heavy weapon shot.
Aye, and I think Sala would be helping with that as well on the other side.
Before I advance, Barbas is going to turn to Brother Konstantinos.
Brother Konstantinos, make sure you have outlined the Crusaders as not targets.
Of course, brother. As I look back, it is done.
Excellent. Advance, my Crusaders.
The Crusaders respond by hammering their pommels into their shields once again and marching forward. Once you get kind of past the initial slaughter, the palace opens up greatly into the wide corridors, the banks of galleries and balconies overlooking wide sweeping grand halls, the pomp and ceremony of imperial power all over the place. You guys know exactly where to head to for this, by the way. You have it on your cartograph. You know the layout of planetary governor palaces. You've been in them before, all of you.
Then we advance.
Garthiel's making his way there, one fleeing guardsman at a time.
It is basically like you guys are just walking along and then Garthiel just shoots off occasionally to murder a guy. It's kind of like walking your dog when he sees a rat or something.
Squirrel!
After a short while, picking your way through bodies and destroyed defensive positions, occasionally yourselves having to open up fire with your bolters as a last handful redoubt of men tries to bar your way, you arrive towards the central chambers of the planetary governor. Two large wooden ornate doors bar your path.
Can we get a scan through these doors?
Can I?
There is 3 signatures on the other side.
8 signatures pinned. Get ready to shoot if they're hostile. Garthiel, if you do not mind.
Do not mind what?
I gesture to the door.
Garthiel walks up to it.
I will get my beloved shield wall to form up once again.
Garthiel's just going to start to kick it open.
So Garthiel kicks open this wooden door. The door flies open, and across from you, you see a warrior stood behind a throne, dressed in the uniform of the palace guard, except he has a large crest of red plumes on his helmet. On the throne in front of this warrior is the planetary governor, dressed in a fine long coat, gilt with imperial gold. But to this man's right is a Tau, dressed in blue robes, trimmed with gold and white, a large wide-brimmed hat on his head, and a small communications device on his ear. As you enter, this Tau bows towards you, and the planetary governor stiffens.
Is it ethereal, or is it just a conveniently water-cast ethereal-looking Tau?
You can give me a Forbidden Law Xenos check. So, Barbas and Dima, you both know that although this Tau looks akin to the ethereal cast, they are in fact of the water cast. They are a Tau diplomat or trader.
Garthiel is just going to instantly rush for Xenos as he goes, "Xenos scum!" And I'm going to tackle him.
As you are rushing towards, the warrior steps forward, drawing something, and makes a slash at you, which he gets to do as a reaction, because you just charged in without thinking.
I successfully parry it.
As you raise your chainsword to cover your now blocked charge, the blade is sliced in half, as this warrior is carrying a thin, strange weapon. It is a small black handle and a shimmer of light extending out from the blade in a sort of, almost looking like a fencing sword of some kind. And they have put themselves between you and the Tau.
Wait, what is the distance from the palace?
It's maybe a distance of maybe 10 meters, if that. So it's like, you guys have just walked in the door. You are in this large circular room. In the center of the room is a large hololithic table. Behind that is a command throne in which the planetary governor is sitting. To the left of that command throne was the palace guard. To the right is a watercast Tau. Garthiel has immediately just charged. The palace guard has leapt up over the throne in front of the watercast, drawn this weapon, and blocked Garthiel's attack, nearly and destroying Garthiel's chainsword in the process.
I would like to cast Compel on the palace guard leader.
You succeed.
I succeed. I'm going to command him to blow his own brains out of his pistol. Demo's just going to utter perish as he casts Compel on this guy.
With your psychic might and your sheer force of will, this guard draws their pistol suddenly, places it to their own chin, and squeezes the trigger. A white-hot beam of light emerging from the pistol and up through their head as they drop to the floor dead.
Okay. Sala, put the governor in cuffs, and Konstantinos pick up his weapons. They look strange in nature. I throw Sala my restraints.
And Sala will just immediately catch them. As Sala is walking towards the planetary governor, he's just going to be absolutely giving the evils through his helmet at the weakling Tau on the other side of the room.
Gather's gonna walk up and grab his neck and just get him on his knees.
Don't kill him, Garfield.
Yes, squad lead.
Barbas over the Vox is going to say, Garthiel, if I may, bring him to me and keep him secure.
He's secure right here, cousin. I've got my entire hand round his neck.
He is choking out on his knees.
Keep him intact, Garthiel. I wish to make spectacle of this.
If anyone is to kill this Xenos, cousin, it will be me.
I have no problem with him dying, brothers. But Barbas, you will not make spectacle of anything without Squad Lead's approval. Last time you tried to do that, you almost turned an entire crowd against us, you fool.
An entire crowd of heretics might I remind you, Salah. They were barely worth our time.
We have our mission, brother.
Brothers, now is the time for patience. We have what we came for. And we have here a Tau who might be able to answer some of our questions.
He turns on the Tau, igniting the axe.
The planetary governor rises to their feet. You will have obeisance within my chamber, Astartes. I am still the governor of this world.
Shut it, weakling!
At the same time that August says that, Sala's going to backhand this man across the jaw.
Yeah, he goes flying off the throne and scatters. He sprawls out on the floor, blood flying from his mouth. As he goes flying and skids, he shakes his head, gets himself back together, and starts pounding the floor like an angry toddler, going, "I was appointed leader of this world by the Emperor himself."
And in response to him saying that, Sala's going to grab him by the back of the neck and just push his face into the floor.
Ah! Should we cut his tongue out?
Just the same, you wretch. You will be deposed by his angels. You are not the first of your ilk I've seen put down.
I have friends in high places. You'll regret it. As you cuff him with restraints.
Demon's gonna chuckle at that and be like, so do we. And he points to his inquisitorial logo on his shoulder.
I'm now holding him in the form of a second GIMP suitcase.
No, okay, you gotta go with an alternate orientation for this guy, dude. You gotta mix it up.
You're right. He's actually hanging the other way around. I'm actually holding him by his cock and balls this time. Sala's just gonna look to the room and just be like, "Someone interrogate this Tau before Brother Garfield kills him."
Might I take the lead?
You may.
I've been itching to flex my abilities.
as he kind of revs the drill on his Narthecium.
Now you're speaking my language.
Barbas is going to order his beloved little ducklings to stand down.
At ease, Crusaders.
The Crusaders lower their swords, but begin circling the Tau watercast like hungry sharks.
Barbas, perhaps you can ask them to give me one of their swords.
Negative, Garthiel.
I'm gonna hit the closed fox. Do not kill him under any circumstance. We shall bring him back to the Inquisition to do what they want with him. But by any means, make him feel like he will die at any second to get what we need.
At that point, I just squeeze his neck a little bit more.
You really are a psycho, brother. You've read my mind.
Okay, August. You are approaching this Tau watercast menacingly with your Narthecium revving, as Garthiel has his gauntleted fist around the Tau's throat, forcing them to their knees.
Do you feel like talking, alien?
They nod their head.
Garfield, listen to Grip a little. Let's hear what it has to say.
He can talk with this grip, cousin.
I'm not sure he can.
I lift him up, be face to face. Can you speak, alien?
You get a sort of strangled choking sound with a slight intake of breath.
I put him back on the knees. He can speak. I'll loosen the grip a little bit as well.
The Tau sucks down a big gulp of air.
Savor it while you can, Xenos.
I am a diplomat. I come with peace. There is no need for such violence.
Oh, but there is. You have entered his holy domain. And by the right of your blood, you are a blasphemer.
I do not blaspheme against your god. I respect your beliefs, and you will be free to have them as part of the greater good.
August is going to, lightning quick, just in out, jab the Tau's arm with the drill.
So with a quick scan of your helmet and a rudimentary understanding of Tau xenobiology, you're pretty sure that stabbing them here won't hit any major arteries and will just lightly wound them, enough to cause notable pain and distress. And with such, your Narthecium takes a chunk out of this Tau's arm and they yelp in pain as their purplish blood trickles down onto the floor of the palace.
I'm afraid you are mistaken. There is a critical conflict between the way we see this galaxy. This galaxy is ours by the rightful primacy of man. There is no room for an alien.
This is barbarism. You are warriors. You are meant to be men of honor.
Oh, we've got honor in droves. Just not for you. Tell me, when did you first arrive on this world? Your people, I mean.
We came in peace, bearing trade.
When? Not why. When?
Only a year ago at most.
And that's all it took to corrupt the highest echelons of this world in 1 year.
We have been trading with this part of your empire for years before then. We did not expect such a visceral reaction.
Then you do not have a measure of our species, clearly.
The Tau Empire far surpasses you in strength and breadth. You do not have a measure of us. This barbarism will not serve you well.
Are you trying to make me laugh? Do you know anything of us? Barbus, show him your armor.
Barbas approaches in his ancient Mark IV battle plate, battered by war, flanked on either side by Crusaders like sharks in a feeding frenzy. As he approaches the Tau, he gets a little close for comfort with his heavy bolter level, not pointing at, but at rest by its face. He's gonna drop down to one knee and take off his helmet.
Do you see this plate I wear, Xenos? It is older than your puny empire by thousands of years. Many an upstart Xenos race have attempted to challenge our grasp upon the dominion of the galaxy. Your race, like many others, will fall by the wayside in his name alone.
This cannot be. This is boasts, delusions, remnants of your religion.
Tell me, Xenos, do you know how old this planet settlement is?
We believe it to be a few thousand.
According to our knowledge, how old is it actually?
This world was founded during the Great Crusade.
If you had done better cartography, you would know that our city here is more than 10,000 years old.
His eyes kind of go a bit wide.
I think you understand the gravity of the powers you meddle in now, Xenos.
He shakes his head and begins to look very downcast. I did not know your race had squandered so much time. If you are so mighty, if you are so ancient, then why do children die starving in your streets? And he looks up at you, defiance in his eyes.
Because horrors yet more incomprehensible battle at our gates. You are a pithy thing compared to what we have fought.
He just sort of shakes his head in dismay, kind of brushing this off. We have faced the orcs. We have seen carnage and war. We know what this galaxy has to offer. What have you faced that is so evil, so great to justify this barbarity?
My throne. Your species has not touched the warp. It truly hasn't. I envy you, alien, that you do not know the great heresies lying behind the skin of reality.
What is this warp you speak of?
Barbs is going to interrupt with just a simple,
Blessed are the ignorant, alien.
Can I make a demonstration of the powers of the warp?
Dima, you reach out with your mind through the warp, reaching for this Tau's consciousness, but you can't find anything. There's nothing there. And the power just kind of leaves you, and it's like kind of firing a flamethrower out into the cold air and watching the flames dissipate. Even though you can see him right there in physical space, within the warp, you can't even begin to touch this man's mind. It's just completely not there. It's like he has no presence in the warp.
These things have no warp presence. Nothing I can hold on to. No wonder they don't know of the horrors we know.
They are abominations, brothers. We would do best to not enlighten them.
So the souls of their body are akin to their machinery.
Yes, that's quite apt.
August, if I may ask, why do you continue to speak with them? What is your plan? Why do we not kill them on the spot?
Yes.
August will swap to private comms.
This is fairly standard as far as interrogation goes. You break the mind of the interrogated. You leave them open, asking questions desperate for some kind of certainty. Then, they will spill everything in their futile efforts to hold on to anything. If we impress upon the Xenos the utter futility of their efforts, perhaps they will acquiesce and tell us something they perhaps ought not to.
Fine. You can continue this. I'll be examining the weaponry of this blade while you do so then.
Sala's going to sort of step forward and come down to the ground. He's going to drop his gimp suitcase on the floor. A loud thud and presumably a moan is going to emit from the idiot within. And Sala's going to just say, he's going to say this out loud so that the Tau can hear him. He's just going to say, Brother Dima, show him.
After what Salah said, I will just shoot a smite. Shoot the governor's chair.
As Dima's making his sort of psychic show of force, Sala will just sort of get down near to the Tau's face and he'll say,
I'll tell you of the warp. It is a realm of madness and despair, where reality tears and nightmares live. The warp is no place for your naive kind, Tau. It is a foul sea that feeds on the souls of the weak.
And chaos is its tide, a force that corrupts, twists, and devours. You think your reason and logic can master it? No. It will drown you, break you, until nothing of your weak soul remains but screams in the dark.
While I respect and honor your religion and beliefs, we live in a practical universe. This may affect your soul, but you must admit, this has no bearing upon the reality functions that we see before us. Your religion is respected and will be welcomed as part of the greater good, but hell is not a concept for statecraft, as my old teacher used to say.
Over the closed Vox, Bob says, simply going to Vox Edema.
Permission to execute the alien.
Denied. He is our only source of information left to Pure Tide to fulfill our objectives. We take him, regardless.
We interrogate him now, brother. I feel that would be much more advisable. Our mission is not to capture the Xenos, it is to kill the Xenos, as is our duty, not to show them the ways of the warp. They are not worthy. They do not need it, brother. This is a waste of time.
Our duty is also to gather information on Pure Tide. He is our only information source left. We are not killing him. Your morals and woes aside, he is our objective. Like it or not, he will die at the hands of the Inquisition after they're done with him. And that will be far worse than anything we could do to him as well.
If that is what you think, squad lead.
As Barbas puts his helmet back on and walks away from the alien, his beloved little Crusaders in tow.
So at this stage, Sala is very, very angry at the Tau's sort of weak disbelief and his response, which is basically a whole load of, oh, you're talking metaphorically, aren't you? Yes. And so Sala is going to very angrily, very wrathfully sort of turn around to Brother Dima and say, release your restraints, Brother Dima. Show him and his kind what they really face out there.
Yes, I think I've got something in mind. I'm going to take a step back, and Dima will promptly use Heat of the Furnace and set himself on fire for the second time.
The Tau is taken aback. After you don't kind of drop dead, they kind of take a second to readjust, and then just... It is some form of technology. Yes?
No, so I'll just get as close as I can so he feels as much heat as possible without endangering his life.
That's not actually that close, to be fair.
This is where you are. That's where you are.
Shouting at him across the room. Is this what you want, alien?
This is the power of the realm you referred to as Hell seconds ago. This is no techno-sorcery or weapon of mass implication. This is the power of someone who has been touched by the warp, suffers the shame of being touched by the warp, and someone who uses it to fulfill their duty. And this is not something you could comprehend with your idealistic mindset, you scum.
I understand that this concept is important to you. And I am willing to listen and learn to what you have to say, as is the Tau Empire as a whole.
Gathel just tightens his grip. Enough talking, cousins. Ask him questions, or I shall execute him.
Now tell me, Xenos, what do you know of the one called Pure Tide?
Pure Tide is a most respected warrior within the Tau Empire. You would admire him and would have much in common. I would happily arrange a conference.
August is gonna look at Dima, play on, with a sort of gentle shrug.
Is this doable now?
No, it would be when you return with me to the Tau Empire.
What if you return to the Imperium of Man with us?
I will happily meet with your leaders and have been invested with authority by the Ethereal Council to begin talks for their translation into part of the greater good.
Blasphemy.
He still thinks. He still thinks. We might join him. Truly. Are you that naive?
It is disgusting.
If this is a joke, I no longer find it funny.
Do you not see the wisdom I am talking about here? Your people, your children, could live happy, full lives. We will aid you in this battle against your hell.
All I see is delusion.
Happy lives do not forge perfect warriors.
I think we have spoken enough. Unless you know of the location of Pure Tide, that is.
I am an unarmed diplomat. No civilized. You will not scare me with threats. You are warriors. Perfect warriors. You would not kill an unarmed man. You cannot be that barbaric.
August will crank the drill again.
Are you certain?
He's starting to squirm a little bit. He definitely doesn't look certain of that.
August is going to start bringing the drill a bit closer, and August will tempt him as gently as he can.
Perhaps you could tell us of your military dispensation in this system.
And I'd like to do an interrogation test.
The Tau finally kind of cracks, seeing that, like, you very clearly convinced him, yeah, he's dying here. I am Watercast. I don't know anything of our military disposition in the system. I am here to bring peace between our worlds. It's not too late. You can still serve the greater good and build a better future for your people.
Brother Dima, he knows nothing.
I have one more question to ask.
I am a peaceful diplomat. I carry no weapons.
Squeeze his neck a bit. What do you know of Commander Diahon?
Commander Diahon is a student of the legendary Pure Tide, tasked with exfiltration of VIPs.
Are you not considered VIP then, Xenos?
I have volunteered to stay behind and attempt to resolve this conflict peacefully.
It is a shame your species is so gullible. Squad lead, orders, dead or alive.
Unfortunately, we must take him alive. We must recoup our losses.
Yes, squad lead.
Suggestion. Perhaps this Tau might still be of some use. There is a Tau communications network on this world that none of us can access. Perhaps a Tau might be able to operate it.
Good call, Brother August. I think it's worth a try.
Constantinos.
Perhaps. Because I'm gonna pull it out of my inventory. The Minecraft plopping noise going.
Xenos, do you know how to wield this device? And I'll point towards Constantinos' hand.
It is a personal communicator. It is a very simple device to operate, though I think it is a bit small for you to operate.
I'll just nod at Constantinos. Show us.
I'll hand it to him.
With his hand, the Tau sort of clips it, holds it to the side of his head. This model has been made for humans to wear. I cannot wear it as they would, but you simply press this button here and think of who you wish to contact. It will look up their address in the comms array and initiate a call with them.
Can you extract these addresses from this comm relay?
I cannot. That would take a member of the Earthcast.
Ugh.
No luck on the communications relay then.
We know so little of each other as empires. Perhaps via extended communication and...
Squeeze his neck. Cousins, this is beginning to get amusing.
Yes, you will have much continued communication with the Inquisition. Let us go.
Before I have a suggestion, squad lead. In this room, surely there is a city-wide communication device. Perhaps Cousin August or Cousin Salah can talk to the populace that the Emperor's angels are here to rescue them from a Xenos threat.
Yes, full permission granted.
August, you head up, separate from the squad, up a long spiral staircase to a thin tower, at the top of which is a servitor wired into a large cogitator bank array, cables spiraling down from the top of the roof all the way to the floor of the highest chamber. In one end is a console in which you can type in a speech that will then be broadcast around the planet. What do you type?
He would begin the address by declaring,
Loyal servants of the Imperium, the Emperor's angels have come to liberate you from the Xenos scourge. All resistance has been quelled. Archdeacon Elias Abnen, Master Logistica Cartathua de Laral, Planetary Governor Harvand von Tor, and one of the Xenos diplomats have been taken by the Emperor's Holy Inquisition for questioning. Bring down the enemy idols. Cast out their profane technology. Abase yourselves to the throne, and salvation can be yours. The Emperor forgives only the repentant.
I think that would be the message. I think that's all he would say.
All right. And you will find out the results of all that later. Okay. Finally, after that, you all leave the Planetary Palace, stowing the former planetary governor onto the Corvus Black Star. As by the fact that you have no restraints for the tower, by the way, it does mean he will be free to just to shout like Tau propaganda at you.
No, he won't. Go, my Crusaders! Restrain this man!
So you just want the Crusaders standing next to him with power swords, like, shut the fuck up.
So it's going to be... I'm going to command them to just, like, make a triangle around him with their shields, so he's just stuck in between them.
Alright, so you are going to the emergency evacuation center, right?
Crusaders, 2 of you stay to guard. 1 of you come with me.
Corvus Blackstar touches down in what is essentially a small Tau-gated community. There is 12, maybe 10 buildings in here, each of which is a large, dome-like structure with lots and lots of shimmering windows that don't seem quite like glass, but seem to let a lot of light in whilst maintaining the privacy of the property. A small energy fence is around the entire little street.
Instead, Barbas is not, it's not disobeying, but, he trusts his brother Gracchus to see to it that this Xenos understands the difference. And he's simply going to call out,
You 2, come with. I will lead all 3 of you for this.
and leave the Tau.
As you guys are disembarking into this gated community, and Gracchus turns back and sees that you've left a Tau unrestrained in his Corvus Blackstar, he's going to turn you. I am not watching that thing.
What would you suggest, Brother Gracchus?
You leave those Crusaders to watch it. I am not watching that thing, squad lead. And he's glaring at Dima.
I am inclined to agree with Gracchus. At least one of them should be with him.
If you insist, squad lead.
And he's just going to motion for one of them to go back.
As you leave behind one Crusader, the last thing you kind of hear is Gracchus bellowing at it. If that thing speaks in my presence, I will rip out its spine and beat you to death with it. You guys are now just in this kind of gated community of Tau buildings. At the far end, there is a larger Tau building that appears much more reinforced and stalwart. What would you like to do?
You said there's a field around it, right?
So there is essentially these little pylons of like a cone, then there's a stick, and along that stick is little discs. At the top there is kind of this large circular dome, and that there's one of those about every 5 meters around the entire perimeter of this little compound, and connecting them is a humming blue energy field of what looks like just kind of really controlled, stabilized plasma. It's around the outside of the gated perimeter of the gated community. You're inside of it.
Squad lead, permission to go forth towards any identified populous areas. Konstantinos, use your vision.
Of course, brother.
You actually are detecting about 5 signatures in one of the buildings off to your left. A scan of the more solid building, can't see inside it. It's too well shielded. But these buildings, there's 5 signatures.
Brothers, it seems the bunker itself is too thick for my auger array to reach through. But there are 5 heat signatures in the building up towards our left. I'll ping them on your HUDs.
Yes, let us go.
Is there an easy way for Garfield to engage?
It's inside of one of these domed buildings. It has a very clear front door, and it has numerous windows that you're not sure if you could punch through, but you could always give it a go.
Garfield's going to go up to one of the front windows, just look back at Dima and be like, Squad lead, permission to test this window.
Granted.
I'll try punch through the window.
Give me a strength check. You punch forward your demigod-like might, crumpling this transparent sheet of what almost feels like metal. In your hand, you tear it apart easily. It's like almost like the material a can is made out of.
It is of an odd material. I'll throw a piece towards Konstantinos. Cousin, perhaps you shall know more.
I'll do my best, brother. As I catch it and I'm scanning it, I guess.
A quick chemical scan reveals it is aluminium. It is aluminium that is perfectly transparent.
Konstantinos is just looking bewildered.
Konstantinos, I will point out, this is aluminium that you can see straight through as if it was glass. This is a marvel of technology to you.
Going to crumple it in my hand as I just throw it to the ground.
Brother Dima, how shall we proceed here? Will we give the people of this... What even is this? This is no hab block.
Permission to engage, squad lead.
We will deal with the inhabitants efficiently. If they are this far gone, then...
I feel a more damp hand might be appropriate, squad lead. Permission to unleash the Crusaders.
Yes.
Crusaders, retrieve the inhabitants of that building.
The 2 Crusaders that came with you snap to attention, bang their swords on their shields, and enter the building swiftly. After a few minutes, they come back out. One of them is coated in blood. The other is like shoving and dragging 3 Tau children and 1 Tau adult. And the Crusader covered in blood who is dragging the adult went, "The other one put up resistance, my lord. The Xenos has been cleansed.
Excellent.
Would you like me to dispatch these others?"
Squad lead, advice.
Sala.
Crusaders, line them up.
Sala's just going to step forwards, draw Ignis Renatus.
The Crusaders shove the 3 children in line, who begin to weep and shake in fear. The last remaining Tau adult, seeing Sala step forward, hearing the command of line them up, throws themselves at your feet, Sala, weeping and sobbing. "Please, spare my children! Please! You must have mercy! They are living beings like you!
August puts a bullet in her head immediately.
Without missing a beat, as soon as the gunshot goes off, Salah does the full whirlwind spin and cuts all three of the children in half.
It was not pleasant hearing it go on like a person.
Thank you for getting it off my foot, brother.
They are abhorrent creatures.
Konstantinos is going to quite literally disarm one of them and puts it in one of his pouches.
Does Konstantinos take a sample from one of the children or the adult?
You know, I'll also take one of those, as I will chop off one of them.
He takes a regular sized one and a fun sized one.
Yeah. So the original purpose is because I was going to do Konstantinos' weird thing of cooking up and eating Xenos.
Oh, the fuck? All right.
Yeah, guys, the Imperium are totally a morally grey area. Meanwhile, this Tagwain's out here killing, cooking up and eating dead Tau children.
Can I eat some of their brains to see what they know?
Yes, absolutely.
Garthel takes his helmet off. Time to dig in.
Which of the Tau are you grabbing?
The adult, since they'll actually probably know something.
Their head's been exploded. Basically, you're going to have to scoop up a handful of just gore from this Tau's head and just chomp.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You get a bunch of weird flashes of a planet you don't recognize and a profound emotional sense of guilt for a brief second before it disappears entirely and you're restored to your normal Astartes senses.
Nothing of use here, cousins. An unknown planet, unknown feelings.
Does Garthiel learn what all the other sort of houses around here are for? Because I'm assuming it's basically they're all just filled with Tau civilians, right?
They were.
Did I get a glimpse of why this family didn't leave?
There was no more room on the ship.
Oh, no.
Their family literally just drew the short straw.
Were there any more families around here for us to eat? Kill.
Oh my god.
There are, as far as you can tell from the memories that you just acquired, everyone but this family was evacuated.
Man, sucks to be them. I think it's time to leave, boys.
When Garthiel, eats that Barbus is going to cringe a little bit. It's like, Brother Garthiel, surely there are better use for your capabilities than eating Xenos children. They have no valuable information whatsoever. It is barbaric.
I can show you my capabilities in the fighting pit, Barbus.
Oh, there you go again, Brother Garthiel.
Perhaps you won't throw your weapon next time.
It's always fighting pit this, fighting pit that.
And yet you always lose.
It would be a different story on the range, brother.
Yes, but there's no honor in that, is there? Enough of your squabble and bickering. Squad lead.
Garfield says, wiping bits of smeared child brain on his thigh as he straightens up.
So Garfield, there's nothing of worth in the remaining large building.
Nothing I could read from their memories, squad lead.
Let us leave then. We have done our job to the best of our abilities.
Well, is it not worth checking, brother? The Tech Marine scans could not penetrate deep enough, but there may be something valuable within. It would be wasteful to not go now.
True. Fine. We shall check the last building, and then we shall leave this planet.
Checking through, the other houses are, as the scan showed, entirely blank. The primary building, which after a little bit, you kind of go through and it's just it's a general administration building, more than anything. Going through, you find some, the issue is, you might have found some Tau, data crystals or something, or, some form of Tau cogitator, but their technology is so alien and so different from your own that it is completely incomprehensible to really know what you found. It's definitely something that you can put into your report back to the Inquisition. This can all be analysed by the Mechanicus later, but this is beyond you as warriors to decipher.
Can we call in Gracchus so that the door will open in view of the executed children?
Gracchus is down the street. if he opens the door to the Black Star, the executed children are in view.
Squad, we are leaving.
As the ramp drops and the despoiled corpses of the Tau civilians are in plain view to the watercast, he makes such a riot, such a clamour, and launches himself at the Crusader and basically impales himself on the Crusader's sword whilst trying to strangle the Crusader. The dead Tau watercast now on the floor of the Black Star. The Crusader drops to one knee. My lord, forgive me. He threw himself upon my blade.
You are forgiven, Crusader. You did what was right in the moment. You have brought glory this day in the Emperor's name.
Yeah, you can't see it. You can't see it under his helmet, but Barbas has a massive shit-eating grin right now.
Garfield eats his brain, yeah.
Garfield, you reach down, ripping his head open and taking a handful of his brains, having a chomp. You get a sudden flash of overwhelming patriotic desire for the greater good, and then it fades away.
Throw up.
I wanted that part.
We'll keep his body. Bring back what we can, at least.
And with that, the Corvus Black Star takes off, breaking through the orbit and banking suddenly to the left as you hear a crackle over the Vox. Brothers, I am receiving an open broadcast Vox beacon signal. Do you want me to patch it through? I think is it of interest to you?
Yes, patch it through.
There's a faint sort of crackle again, and then finally over the Vox comes a familiar voice. The voice of Commander D. Johann. Warriors, Astartes. I acted rashly the last time we encountered each other. I will not make that mistake again, and I will find you.
Show your face, Xenos scum!
And I will kill you for your actions on Axo.
It's an open broadcast, so we can speak back, yeah?
No, this is a recording.
Oh, Garfield doesn't realise.
He knows that we did it.
God damn it. That means there's an informant in the Deathwatch, a leak.
Either that or there was a black box that survived on the planet from nuclear orbit after we killed 99% of them.
Once more the Corvus Black Star banks. Brothers, I have been sent instructions by Watch Captain Varvers that we are to dock with this strike cruiser instead of returning to Watch Station's Alpharon. Welcome to your new home, brothers. Aboard the Lance of Penance. And sort of in a little pic display flicks up inside the Corvus Black Star, displaying an Astartes strike cruiser in the style of an ancient pattern of ship. Not really familiar to any of you. And as you feel the Corvus Black Star touch down inside of it, a sense of foreboding kind of enshrouds you all as you realize that the Tau know of the biophage. Mission complete. All primary objectives achieved. Initial inquisitorial assessment of the planet close loyalty within acceptable parameters. Hey, Varvers, coming back at you from the void once again. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you've reached episode 3 and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Who doesn't keep watching a series after they've watched 3 episodes? Madness. This episode, I really have to recommend the behind the scenes, which you can see on our Patreon. Anyway, please keep leaving those feedback comments, they're really helpful. And until next time, suffer not the alien to live.